Welcome back, everyone. We're joined now by Senator Joe Baldacci, representing Senate District 9. Senator Baldacci, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, it's really my pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
And there's a few things I wanted to talk about with you today,
Sure.
including top of mind, a bill you recently introduced to improve child welfare in the state of Maine. Can you tell me a little bit about what's in that bill and the kind of the status of it right now?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of things we need to do to improve child welfare. It's not just one bill. We've been working on a whole series of things in terms of caseworkers, in terms of having more caseworkers, increasing their pay, and also changing some of the administrative structure. But my bill would be to create an inspector general, which is more or less a child advocate for really all children that are in state custody in one form or of another, or that the department is investigating or should be investigating. It's to have subpoena power, which doesn't exist right now, for an outside entity, so that access to documents doesn't have to go through a year-long exercise and go to court. We need to have effective, efficient oversight. I think that will help. It's not going to answer all the problems. And I just want to say about the recent death of Braxton Smith in Bangor is just, I grieve for the family, and I am personally outraged, and that should not happen. Deaths of children like that should not happen. We need to do everything we can to prevent it. This bill would be to have independent, more effective oversight, which is to help the long-term process. I'm also working with Republican Senator Jeff Timberlake and a co-sponsor of his bill, which is to take the Office of Children and Family Services out of DHHS, create a separate department that's focused just on children and families, and hoping that as part of these changes that we can get a better administration in terms of response to child protection. We have to work on this continuously. There's so many aspects of it, but it's important that we make sure that there's efficient, effective oversight.
Such an important issue that really everyone can agree needs to be solved. And in your opinion, what are you hearing across the aisle, the political aisle, in terms of support for these bills?
Well, this is really, doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat. I think we share the same views in terms of protecting children. So, and as I said, I'm working with some Republican senators because I'm sure the administration is opposed, but I think I'm trying to build a coalition with people so that we can make changes. And I found several sympathetic ears in both the Republican and Democratic parties, and I'm going to work with those people who are willing to help out.
That's great to hear. And looking towards another series of bills now, you have also introduced a series of bills to expand passenger rail service throughout the state of Maine, particularly in northern Maine. If those were to pass, what would that look like? What cities would be involved in that?
So what we did is actually we teamed up with Lewiston. So Bangor and Lewiston are actually working together to have a rail plan that would link Portland to Lewiston to Waterville to Bangor. The city councils of Waterville, Lewiston, Auburn, Bangor, and Brewer have all endorsed it. There is resistance from the Department of Transportation, and that's to be expected because these fights might take several years. The bill itself, that's going to probably be heard by the Senate next week, is to have the DOT apply for federal money to conduct a full-scale feasibility study of this rail link that we have proposed. It is just to apply for federal money. There is federal money for planning. It's part of the bipartisan infrastructure program, and it would be a first step to qualifying for infrastructure money to actually build this rail.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on the progress of that. Senator Baldacci, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, and stay tuned for your full updated forecast after the break.